Welcome to Fight Your Corner with me, Charlie Parsons, and Tony the Bomber Bellew.
Sponsored by Midnight, the betting app that's built different. The baddest man on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt, is whoever's the best at mixed martial arts.
If you're not fighting, you're not earning. It's like I didn't work since I was 10 years old to sit on the sideline.
No one comes to see your bald head sitting there. They all come to see what these two guys do in the ring, and it's them guys that should be taking the lion's share.
There's 20,000 people in that arena who are all going to go home tonight, put their head on the pillow, they're never going to think about that again. What the damage that this guy could take right now could affect him and his family's life forever.
Do you want to see greatness, or would you rather go, I want to see Gane because I want revenge?
I want revenge, of course.
And today we have got, well, two absolute mountains next to us, but an even bigger man than you, Tony, the UFC heavyweight champion, Mr. Tom Aspinall. Thank you for joining us, mate. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks, mate. Yeah, all good.
He is an absolute unit anytime.
Someone I massively admire, mate. I love that profession and that there's so many disciplines he's had to master over the years. So yes, a handful to say the least.
We will get into the chat and the intricacies of everything. I'm sure you guys can teach me a bit about MMA, probably more. Tom, you were just having a bit of a natter off camera about grappling.
Yeah.
And how some boxers seem to think that you kind of catch a fighter on the way inside. What was your
madness? They haven't got a chance. I've done various disciplines and tried, whether it's wrestling, whether I've done a bit of jiu-jitsu, bull wrestling, grappling. So I've never been found wanting. When I get into clinches with fighters, I always come off better. Locking things up, the same ways to pull arms when you're boxing, and I would always stretch a bit. I always remember having David in a lock, and I just locked his arm up and pressed and pulled up from here, and he was screaming to the referees because he's trying to break my arm, and I just said to him, shut up, bitch, while we were in the clinch. And the little things like that you know, Tom knows all about the arm bars and things like that, but little things that I would do in a boxing ring to fighters, I'd learned from spending time around friends who were wrestlers and different people. And yeah, it's so technical, Charlie, you couldn't possibly imagine. And to do what Tom does, mate, it's another game.
Grappling the hardest thing in your game, you believe, when you do the stand up and everything? Is that the one that always tests you the most?
No, I think the hardest thing is like linking it all together, isn't it? Like,
being the ultimate.
Yeah, the hardest thing is like knowing what's going to come at you. Do you know what I mean? There's so many variables in MMA. That's why, like, in MMA, it's really rare that you see anyone with like an unbeaten record who's fighting at a decent level. It's just like impossible. But I always wanted to ask a boxer, actually, like, how much of that stuff do you do? Because like I went to the boxing at weekend, right? I went to Dubois and Wardley, and which was an unbelievable fight.
Great fight.
But like sometimes you see them leaning on each other. One guy seems to be engaging, the other guy just seems to be like stood there. Like, do you train that or not?
I used to. So I would have...
I think it'd be wise to do.
Yeah, I used to have a 17, 18 stone guy who was part of my camp, and he would come in and we would wrestle. We would literally just wrestle. And he would put the body bag on, I would smash away at the body bag, then he would come on. I used to have an old boxing coach who was like 21, 22 stone, and he knew how to use his body and wrestle. And that weight being put on you drained you. So anytime, when I went to heavyweight and fought David Haye, everyone thought that when he gets older, I'm going to feel the strength and power. It didn't bother me in the slightest. I was able to manhandle him up close. When I went to cruiserweight from light heavyweight, none of them could manhandle me. Like Mateusz Masternak, who would be for the European title, he's got some background with mixed martial arts and wrestling. He got hold of me and he couldn't. I just turned him and I just once again locked his arm up, done the clinch, done the hold, and you do things like that. But Tom said before, that's the hot marrying it all together. So Tom could fight the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter in the world, and he'll win because he marries his skill set. Tom will have great kickboxing, he'll have good boxing, he'll have all of these different things. That's why the baddest man on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt, is whoever's the best at mixed martial arts. There's no two, like I know they say the heavyweight champion of the world, the baddest man on the planet. I'm sorry, mate, he's not. Like, he's a mile off.
Are you looking right at the baddest man on the planet then?
He's beaten anyone. The skill set that he has, of course, if we get into it, but if he comes to boxing, there's no chance. But if I'm going to his, he's got, at least in boxing, he's got a puncher's chance. If I get in a cage, I don't even have, it's sad to say, I don't even have a puncher's chance, because he can actually start a fight and start on his back, and I can't beat him. I'm a former champion of the world. If he just lies on his back, if he's clever enough, and this is what people don't get, like everyone go, and the thing I get a lot of is everyone, you start a fight on your feet with your hands. Yeah, normal people do. These guys can just go, I'll lie me back, come and get me. And I've seen it done before. I think it was Damian Maia who had the fantastic amount of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and this guy would come out to fight and just lie on his back and say, I'm not standing up. I'm not even taking the risk. Come and get me. And how crazy is that for someone to lie on the floor when someone's standing over them saying, let's have a fight? So there's no comparison. The baddest man in the world is whoever's the king of mixed martial arts. I don't want to say the UFC because there's so many different place to be. Don't get me wrong, the premier guys and the best of the best there's no denying it, the UFC. That's where, like, the baddest man in the world for me for the number of years has been, it can be Jon Jones, but before Jon Jones, people were saying it was the Russian guy who no one faced him for years, Emelianenko. So there's been so many different guys. Right now, it's Tom.
Quickly before we move on and have a little bit of a talk about you and everything that's going on in your life, Tony says there's no one that could go into the cage. Now, we've seen MMA fighters go into the ring on countless occasions. Is there a boxer who could go into the cage?
I mean, I think everyone, like, the gloves are very small, obviously, but like I've done a lot of boxing sparring with boxers, and when I spar boxers, something that I notice about getting punched off boxers is they didn't really know how to punch. Like, obviously, if I'm sparring an MMA guy, they can punch as well, but boxers, it's exclusively punching, so they can get a lot more torque and twist on the punching and stuff. So if obviously you put little gloves on an MMA on a boxer, they do have a chance to knock your head off, but the chance is pretty slim, mate. I think
it's very slim if you start on your back.
I think a lot of boxing, it's not as movement heavy as MMA is, because you have to move a lot in MMA because there's so many variables. You've got kicks, elbows, spinning attacks, takedowns. Like I say, you can even jump on your back and drag them on top of you. Whereas in boxing, you stood at a much closer range with your feet relatively still. Now, if you're going to stand like that in MMA, first of all, the first thing any MMA fighter's going to do is just blast your leg, just kick the shit out of your leg straight away. And your feet are planted, so you can get taken down so easily like that.
See how he's explaining it? How easy it is to break down a boxer? Did you not learn by watching when James Toney thought he's the greatest, and he just gets in and Randy Couture just picks him off the floor and just slams him on his head?
But I do think it works the other way as well. I think a lot of MMA fighters, right, they think, right, boxing's part of our sport, right? But it's a small part. Like, punching is a part of our sport, not as much boxing. Punching is a part of our sport. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to stick a pair of boxing gloves on and go and beat a professional boxer. It's like, mate, that's not... Like, you've been training MMA, which is all different facets from striking, grappling, jiu-jitsu, cage wrestling, all different. Like, we could sit here and name like 20 martial arts that involve in MMA. For the time you've been doing that, one guy has just been boxing. So, like, the chances of you switching over to boxing and beating a boxer is, like, very, very slim as well. I think that
it's impossible.
A lot of MMA fighters, they've obviously not done a lot of boxing sparring with professional boxing. Like, I've done a lot. I've been around the boxing gyms and sparred a lot of boxers.
Tyson and Peter for years.
And listen, I ain't going to beat a boxer in a boxing fight. It's not happening. I might beat some, do you know what I mean, at a certain level, but, like, I'm not going to jump in and beat, like, a Usyk or a fucking Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. It's just not happening.
Well, we're going to cover that fight that happens at the Pyramids between Oleksandr Usyk and your mate, Mr. Rico Verhoeven. Before we do that, we're talking about boxing, the similarities, the differences, whatever. One thing is, and it comes up, and we're not going to go over it loads because you've covered it a lot, but Tony, have you ever been poked in the eye? Because this man sure did, and I don't think it's very nice.
No, it's they've got to figure out what to actually do with an eye poke in that sport. It's not... I don't think it's dealt with harshly enough, first and foremost, and secondly, how damaging it is. I've fought with 2 scratched eyeballs, and that doesn't sound much, but trust me, mate, it's one of the most painful things I've ever had. When I fought Masterneck for the European title, when the bell went, basically my eyes were nearly shut, 2 of them. And I remember, I've got a picture on my phone of me holding the European title. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, it was just the pain was unbearable. You think closing your eyes would stop it. Then they put patches over my eyes and they were warm, and then it was soothing it for a bit, and then the pain kicked in again, and it was unbearable. And that's what, and the scratches never ever heal. So your eye is one of the only parts of your body where once the damage is done, it can't actually heal. So when the scratches on my eyeball, but you've got to look at it, it's like varnish on a door. You take it off and then a varnish comes back over after a certain period of time when it's healed. But the scratch is always behind the varnish, and the varnish can be taken off by opening your eyes without doing it slowly every morning. The varnish can be took off with numerous things, so the pain levels is not nice. Never mind what Tom's had. I mean, there's some being poked and nearly having your eye out. I've seen the finger goes into his eye, and once it goes in, I mean, it's damaging. And you'll have people who go, he could have fought on, he could have done this. You know, by the damage and the level he's got to now, his career's been put on hold because of an eye poke. And this is where I think the UFC need to go, whoa, guys, you can't even make the gloves so you keep a fish cleanse, because you're going to wrestle, you're going to grapple. So I'd be lying if I said I know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is, how to do it, but what I do know is, mate, it's very, very damaging.
Obviously, it's something that you've discussed a lot on your channel, whatever, and the whole process of that. It's been quite nice seeing the way you've presented that in your YouTube channel, almost like the humanising side of what an athlete really does go through the checkup. But where are you at now in terms of everything as of right this minute of speaking to each other?
Yeah, all good, mate. I think I have spoke about it a lot, but like I'm going to leave the proper details until after I've retired, because at this point it's just like we're just going over the same shit. But,
is it, why is that? Is that illegal? Is it, Tom, or something like that?
No, I just think I've just spoke about it enough. People just don't want to hear about me, complaining about my eye anymore. But I think that
you're just struggling, like you can't come back and fight.
But like I'm just at the minute, I've just had my recent scan. Everything's going. I thought it was going to get cleared actually to spar and fight straight away. But they actually said they'd give me another couple of months, so I'm just waiting for because the cells in your eye take a little bit longer to heal, so as soon as they're healed, should be good to go.
Let's talk about the word mojo, I think, was used when you signed with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom's talent agency and everything. I suppose initially when you did it, were you a little bit concerned that you would almost be a piece of the puzzle between this ongoing feud that
with me and Eddie, with Eddie and
Dana?
Yeah, a little bit, but like once I figured out the finer details of the relationship that me and Matchroom have, I was obviously happy. I signed a long-term contract, so I'm happy with it. Like I've got a lot of people like Tony and other people who I know personally who work with Matchroom, and listen, no one who I know personally has a bad word to say about them. Do you know what I mean? So like stuff like that goes a long way with me. And also, like when I met Eddie and Frank and the rest of the team, it just seemed to. Sometimes you sit down and have a conversation with someone and you think it might go well, and then you just don't click in person or whatever. But when we all met, it just seemed to work, right away. So yeah, we did it.
I think Tom said before about the whole mojo comment, and maybe it was a little bit kind of stretched too far, but you'll have had it in your career before where it's that first glimpse of adversity. You go from almost the fans love you 1 second to the fans don't, and they're not necessarily the fans that are always going to be beside you, win, lose or draw. You probably learn a lot about yourself in them and in those moments, right? In that, Tom's record's intact, he's still the heavyweight champion, but there's a lot of adversity to overcome in terms of it's a completely new situation, right?
In terms of what, though? What in terms
mentally having to kind of go through that?
What Tom's been through?
Yeah, especially with Dana.
That's so where Tom's at and where he's been through. It's got its pluses, it's got its negatives. First of all, the plus are its character building. If he can get through this and have his career basically taken from him, he can get through anything. This is all he knows. This is all he's known his whole life is fighting, becoming the best mixed martial artist he can possibly be. To then have that taken away from you, I can't tell you how tough that, because I haven't experienced it, but I've been injured. I've had to go into theatre. I've had my hand. I remember after my fourth fight, my hand was snapped. I didn't think I might not ever be able to fight again. The hand surgeon, the brilliant Mike Hayton, told me, I'll fix it. You're going to be okay. That was a nerve-wracking period, because I remember they said I'd be out for 6 months. I had a fight after 5. I remember going back and punching with 20-ounce gloves on the first day. And I just thought, if this goes here again, my career's over. I'm never going to get over this. So that was a fear. Tom will have similar fears when he goes back and does his first spar. So I get that side of it. But the difference for me is, at the time, I was a 4-round and 6-round fighter. He's heavyweight champion of the world, and he hasn't been able to maximise his earning potential yet. So, and that's where I was. I didn't I was skint. Like, I couldn't even pay me mortgage. And I understand. And Tom is in a position now where in mixed martial arts, the earning potential and the revenue comes when he gets to the top. But believe you me, before he's got that belt, the revenue is probably the same as me as a 4 or 6 round fight. That's how embarrassing it is in this discipline, because one man owns the whole project. One man is in control of everything you earn and what you can monopolise. So I get it to a certain extent how he feels and what he's been through, but believe you me, he's a lot stronger now for this happening. I know he won't feel like that at the minute, but he's a lot stronger for this happening now than he would have been, later on in life.
I suppose the thing that baffles me a bit when you look at MMA and the contrast to boxing and that whole one governing body, we'll talk a little bit about Zuffa and kind of their intention to do that, but it almost seems a little bit like the boss says and it happens, and that was kind of the talk. Were you surprised when Dana initially came out? Obviously Ciryl Gane's got his fight now, but keeps kind of making the comments about exaggerating the injury regardless of the fact that it's all documented.
Yeah.
Does he? Is that what he's saying?
He said, like, he's not said it in so many words, but he's like alluded to it a little bit.
He's implementing it.
I would love for that to be the case. It's been a freaking shit time. I would love to be, but like you said, it's like, if you're not fighting, you're not earning.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not sitting here for fun. Like, I'd love to be fighting. I'd love to be on these big cards and having these big nights. Like, I didn't work since I was 10 years old to sit on the sideline. Do you know what I mean?
Especially in the UFC as well, and that's with no discredit to the money that you guys earn, because obviously it's still incredible. But when the whole conversation comes up about what boxers earn and then what the MMA fighters earn, the last person who's going to be a sitting duck.
Charlie, it all comes down to it's a perspective, and it's all within, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not, what you generate in boxing, you get once you get to the highest level. It's all relevant. So, and in UFC, it's never been relevant. What the guys generate, there's only one man I can think, and even he's not getting paid.
Conor?
Yeah, he's the only one. And believe you me, what he's generating, he's still only getting a fraction of. But it's so big what he's generating, they've actually given him a piece of the pie and gone, we've got to give him this because we've never seen anything like him. This is what infuriates me about it, because all that I really care about is the fighters. Yes, people will say I've got a relationship with Eddie and Barry and Matchroom and stuff, and I have, and they're like family. I love them, I adore them, because I've got certain loyalties to them, because you know why? We've stood by each other through thick and thin. When things weren't going well, they stood by me. When things are going well, I stood by them. So there's a thing there, but ultimately I care about the fighters, whether it's mixed martial arts or boxing, and I care that they get what they deserve. I don't want them to get, you shouldn't get more than you deserve. You should get what you generate, what you bring to the table. And in Tom's profession, it is so far off the mark. It is truly frightening. It's actually, it's borderline. It's sad. It's sad, and I don't care if you want to say, and I think it's pretty well known now, Tom was supposed to get $1 million for his next fight. And people are going to go, that is life-changing money. Yeah, it is, yeah. Do you know what he's gone through to earn that? Because there's a guy who could work in McDonald's for 10 years and probably end up managing McDonald's who can generate that himself. And that's no slight on McDonald's, whatever have you, but to put things into perspective, the guy's been punched and banged and knocked up all over the place. And the goal, yes, he wants to win the heavyweight championship of the world. Of course, that's always the lifelong dream. He's now done it. But, once you win them belts and once you become that and you lift that title and get that goal, you've got a family. And the goal after winning that belt and that title is financial security. And that's what you deserve when you get to the top of a sport. You do not deserve to be dictated to by anybody else. But you know why? Because you're the king of that discipline. You're the king of that sport. And I just fight for fighters to be able to get in that position. That's what I care about, really.
I think you've been quite respectful when talking about the situation. I suppose that's where Eddie comes in a little bit, when he talks about the contracts and things like that. At what point, and this is me asking as a fan, because every MMA fighter comes through and they think, I want to be in the UFC.
Yeah. And
you beg Dana for the opportunity and you get the opportunity and you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. At what point does that novelty wear off and you start to... We spoke before with Carl Froch about sometimes maybe being victim to success. So with Terence Crawford and the sanctioning fees with the WBC and all of that, you get to a point when you're so accomplished that you start to realise everything. At what point in your UFC career did you start to realise, hold up, this isn't adding up, this isn't right?
To be honest, it's hard because I was always focused on just being the best in the world. That's what I wanted to do. So, that's my thing. I wanted to. The reason that I personally wanted to get in the UFC is because I wanted to. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about nothing. I wanted to get in and show everybody and show myself as well. Mainly,
the best fighter in the world.
Yeah, is like I am better than everybody else. That's what I wanted to do. And to really, I never really thought about it much until I started being. Until this like boxing thing started, and then started being friends with boxers and stuff, and then I'm like, they are making a lot more money than we are, but I'm still not like hung up on the money thing.
No, of course.
It's more like I think you should be respected, financially. It's not about like making tens of millions and stuff like that. It's more about like this is what I put my body through. I want respect from me and my family because of it. But I'm not like by no means am I like dead money hungry or anything.
No,
for me, it was always like
I think it's
to be the best. That's what I wanted. Yeah,
that's why he's in it. He's in it to be the best. You don't dedicate your life to something for money. You couldn't. If for me, I could never have got through what I've got through in boxing if it was just about the money.
Yeah,
I'd have give up many. There's more. I could have earned money other ways. There's more ways to earn money. Money comes and goes. I was chasing a dream, and my dream was to be WBC champion of the world. When I got to that, like, I took fights for buttons. I fought for the European title, and it was buttons. Eddie tells you now, he sees him laughing and taking the piss out of me on videos that we do, and he goes, "Fuck, money you took to fight Masternak, and then the money you earned to fight." And I go, because it's all relevant at the time. I'm chasing a dream. It's bigger than the money. But then, you know, when you achieve the dream and you live, and I can say that because I've done it, and you're like, what am I chasing now? And at the time, I've got 3 kids, and it's like financial security. Because once I achieve, when I wake up on Monday morning after winning the world title on a Sunday, bank holiday Sunday, my missus thinks I should retire. And I said, "What do you mean retire?" I said, "We're so far away from financial security." She went, "Yeah, but you've told me all you ever want to do is win this WBC title. I've won British, Commonwealth, European. I've now won the WBC world title." And she says, "Why aren't you retiring?" I said, "Because we're so far away from financial security. But I promise you now, my career will become about financial security, and I'll secure us financially with the rest of my career, whatever it's 3 or 4 fights left." He's in the exact same position. I think once you win the belt, Tom, I don't want to sound disrespectful to UFC, because it's not. Being the UFC heavyweight champion of the world is a lifelong goal achieved, a lifelong dream come true. But you are now about that person of, I want to secure my family's future financially.
Yeah, right, that's my main focus. Like my goal was always, and it still is, it's not, the goal hasn't changed. I am the best heavyweight in the world, right? And I've been wanting to say that since I was fucking 11 years old. And that's always been my goal. Is that?
By the way, you've chased the man who's had the baddest man on the planet's name for years.
Yeah.
Jon Jones is I'm telling you, is the greatest fighter mixed martial arts I've ever seen, and he's been on his tail, actively chasing at every presser, at every event, he begged for the fight. Like I'm not Mr. Charlie. I know that I love mixed martial arts. I've been studying it and watching it since I was a kid. I'm not crazy enough to do it because I ain't messing around in them disciplines, but I've gone as far back as Mark Hearn and Mark Holt, the Smashing Machine, studying and watching the whole sport evolve. The most important fight in UFC history is Forrest Griffin against Stephen Bonner. What that fight does, it just makes the UFC explode. Since then, it's grown. But Jon Jones is probably widely known as the greatest mixed martial artist ever, I would say. Possibly pound for pound. He's actively chased him non-stop. And he's at the point, I'm begging for this fight. Just please give me this fight. Do you understand?
Too late now?
Too late. All I wanted to do it for was
just prove who's the best.
Just prove I was the best. And a lot of like you say, there's been kind of like this big explosion in MMA, especially over the last few years in this country, especially since COVID. Like when it came back, started doing shows in London again, it seems to have gone massive, and a lot of people have like jumped on the bandwagon, and they're like weird, like little fans, and like they don't really understand the sport. All I wanted to fight Jon Jones for was to prove that I'm the best. That's it. That's
Test
all I wanted.
Test
it was
yourself against
never
the
anything personal. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about nothing. I just wanted to fight the best ever. But I didn't get the chance, and now we're moving on.
And he could have done that. I think Dana could have done that, and he could have without a shadow of a doubt.
Didn't John price himself out?
I don't know. I know he definitely got offered the 30 million for it, but for whatever reason, he didn't take it.
Tom, I'll just revert if you don't mind. I suppose this is more just as a fan, and obviously sitting here with you guys and the lifelong dream always to be the champion status, but there's so much talk at the minute coinciding with the whole Eddie Dana and Dana entering the boxing space on the Ali Act. How clued up are you?
I know bits of this is like, right, correct me if I'm wrong, the Ali Act is like where everybody who's taking part in the sport, whether you're a fighter or a promoter or whatever, they all get access to see the
So it's
funds.
like a disclosure from the promoters for events in America.
Yeah, everyone gets to see how much the event's worth, how much the fighters get and stuff like that,
Now, it's also a point of everyone forgets this. The manager and the promoter can't be the same man. It's a conflict.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I knew that as well. Yeah.
That's the most, for me, that's possibly the most important part of the Ali Act. Something that our British Boxing Board won't implement, which is disgusting. Because do you understand how it works for a fighter? The manager and the promoter are supposed to argue with each other to get the best
for their fighter.
For the fighter. If the manager and the promoter is the same person, which is an argument I had in court, which I won, then who's for the fighter? Because is the promoter's going to go, right, I'm in the office, right, the fighter wants $1 million, and then the promoter goes, well, I can't afford to give him $1 million, but the manager goes, well, you've got it because he's my fighter. He can't argue with himself.
How detrimental is it then at the minute with everything that's going on in America where they've been in Congress?
It can't happen. If the Ali Act gets turned over, it's the worst thing ever, and it can't be. It would be the most frightening thing that would happen to boxing ever, because it would just ruin the whole bit. It's not even about the business model and the money. You're allowing one man to control the whole narrative, and he is controlling everything that involves the fighter. And understand this, he ain't even fucking fighting. At least give them... Imagine turning up in an arena and they've all come to watch the two people. This is the ring. And everybody around this ring comes in to see what these two guys are going to do. But there's a guy sitting on the front row once more than everybody's come to see. No one comes to see you, fuckface. No one comes to see you sitting on that first row. No one comes to see your bald head sitting there. They all come to see what these two guys are doing in the ring, and it's them guys that should be taking the lion's share. I don't care about your background and that you built this and you built this infrastructure from scratch. You didn't bleed. You didn't sweat. You didn't take the punishment to help build all this. These boys in here did. And that's what people forget. And by the Ali Act being taken away, that's what it'll do. It'll take away from these two guys who everybody's come to watch. All the fights you tune into, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, these guys were all paid crazy amounts of money at the time. I mean, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman went to Zaire and they put it on the map. $5 million each they got. In that's
those
like
times as well. Yeah,
that's like 50 million each now, maybe 100 million each now. It's absurd, but the fighters got that, and Don King took that to President Mobutu, and President Mobutu says to them, Don King goes to President Mobutu and says, I'll put your country on the map for $10 million. How much will the war cost? People are going to be talking about Zaire for the rest of our lives, and we still do now. And he was right. For $10 million, I can put your country on the map. And that, for me, speaks louder than anything else. The fighters were looked after and paid so well. And if this Ali Act comes into play, you'll just lose boxing. You'll lose it. Because you can't have one man can never control the full narrative in boxing. Too long in the tooth, too many fighters, too much power. It can't happen.
Being in the world of MMA, when you hear about that, and obviously there's been so many fighters that have come out, not even just in the last year, and resorting back to that pay thing, and then now fighters are coming out and saying, hold up, why are TKO Zuffa offering Conor Benn $10 million? Do you think
15, wasn't it?
15 million, say whatever.
10, 15, it's ludicrous either way.
It's a lot of money.
But are they almost trying to do that to lower the guard of boxing fans, in that if the Ali Act is gone, and you're someone who would say that, I suppose in MMA, where that can't be disclosed as to what the guys are making, you must be half thinking, nah, like, you guys have to disclose what you're earning in boxing.
So if that if that's gone, the Ali Act, how do the governing bodies feel about that? Like the WBO, the WBA, the IBF, and all that.
The Ali Act doesn't put the other governing bodies under any kind of... It doesn't do anything to the governing bodies.
So would the governing bodies not say well, you can't fight for our belt
No,
then if you're not?
No, the governing bodies don't want the Ali Act to stay in place. They all want it. The only people who want the Ali Act put in place is Zuffa. Nobody else wants it in place. No other boxing... Golden Boy don't want it, Top Rank don't want it, Don King doesn't want it, Eddie Hearn doesn't want it, Matchroom don't want it. None of the other boxing organisations want this in place. None of them. Why? Because they understand why it was put in place. It's to benefit the fighters. Muhammad Ali's probably the most well-known face that's ever graced this earth. There's a reason that act's been put in place in his name. It helps and saves fighters.
No, I think you've described it really good when you said about there's two guys there who are fighting and there's someone else. I just went to Wardley and Dubois at the weekend. I don't often go to boxing fights, to be honest, but obviously I've been going to combat sports events since I was 10 years old. I'm 33, so I've been to a lot of fights. And I was sat from me to Tony away from the fight, do you know what I mean? That's how close it was. And it's mad because obviously Wardley's nose is completely squashed.
Yeah.
One eye's closed. His other eye's nearly closed. He's fucking stumbling around all over the place. He's absolutely exhausted. We're 9-10 rounds in here.
Yeah.
The ref comes over and checks him. The doctor checks him. Everyone's booing. And then they let him carry on and this massive cheer goes on throughout the arena.
Yeah.
And I'm literally watching thinking, this lad could fucking die now. And there's 20,000 people in that arena who are all going to go home tonight. They're going to have had a good night and they're going to go home, put their head on the pillow. They're never going to think about that again. This guy, the damage that this guy could take right now could affect him and his family's life forever.
But understand, Tom, I've been saying this since I've got into boxing.
He should be getting the absolute maximum of money.
But understand what we are as fight. Do you know when people in that arena? We're just Saturday night's entertainment.
That's it.
That's all we are. So never forget that. I've always said this now, and I'll repeat it again. Away from all of the lights and the camera action, when your career stops, nobody cares. You're just Saturday night's entertainment. So as Tom just said, I wasn't in the arena, but when they're in the arena and the thought of that referee stopping the fight or the doctor calling the fight off, the booing and the screaming, do you think anyone's going to be in that hospital with Fabio after that fight, besides close members of his team and his missus? No one cares, mate. It's Saturday night's entertainment, and they've turned up for blood. That's the fight game. Whether it's boxing, whether it's mixed martial arts, these people have turned up to be entertained. Understand that. And for them to be entertained, you need to be adequately compensated, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's all he's asking for, to be adequately compensated. And at the same time, do you know what should happen? I believe in all sports, especially combat sports. I'm not saying you should get this or you should get that, but what I believe is when you're top of the bill and you own the bill, you should get a piece of the pie. Whatever you generate and bring to the table, I believe you should get. That's just my opinion. Not all fights are going to like this, and Eddie will probably say, Tom, what are you saying that for? But Eddie will also say to you, if you bring enough to the table, I'm happy to do that deal. He's done it before, he'll do it again. That's all his fighters want, is fairness. And then that's fighters, whether it's mixed martial arts, the UFC, whether it's boxers, you just want a fair shake of the deal. You just want to, give me a fair hand.
Is the Eddie Hearn Dana White beef in what Dana started and said I'd have a tear up with Eddie and now seemingly doesn't want the fight? I think Eddie said a figure of about 30 million. Is it disrespectful to fighters?
It's Saturday night entertainment though, isn't it? I'm going to Misfits right soon.
It's right.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm fucking looking forward to it.
I've worked them.
I'm working it.
Quite a good time.
And I'm looking forward to it because it's entertainment, isn't it? It's all fun.
Saturday night's entertainment.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of a I like fighting. I like combat. I enjoy it. So if two fellas who are not fighters want to throw a pair of gloves on and have it out, I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? I quite like it.
As long as I say this, and I'll say it again. The Misfits, all these things, I don't knock them, fair play. JJ's created an amazing brand there with Misfits, with Carlene, Nisa, Mams, they've all done really well. And it's all well and good. And I applaud them until someone gets hurt.
Are you backing your man Eddie in a tear up with old Dana White?
I think Eddie would beat him, yeah.
It's mad, isn't it, that it's even a conversation.
In a boxing match.
I do think he beat him in a boxing match.
It seems actually
he's got no
somewhat violent.
No chance in the cage, though.
No, what's Dana's grappling like, though?
I haven't got a clue, but I'm sure he must have practiced.
I don't think Eddie's got none.
He must wrestle. If he'd gone to school in America, Dana's must have done something.
You know when Dana now says, it's disrespectful, we'd be on the first fight of the night, Eddie goes back and says, well, obviously we fucking wouldn't, type thing.
Eddie's not soft, mate.
Why do you think Dana doesn't want it?
I have no idea. I don't know.
What's he say?
He said he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it.
Who doesn't?
Dana.
I
don't know.
Because
I don't get the whole thing.
Because he's that rich. That's why Dana doesn't want it. He's made that much money.
I thought he started it, though.
He did.
Did he? I don't know.
No, he said what happened is Dana said he'd slap him or he'd beat him up, whatever he said. And then when I think Dana's probably thought Eddie's going to shit his pants here and go, I don't want none of that. And when Eddie's bit straight away and gone, I'll have some of this, but I won't pay. And Dana's like, oh, well, I might get made a bit of a show of here. That this is his brand, and the UFC wouldn't allow. I don't believe wouldn't allow. You have to understand, Dana White doesn't own the UFC. The UFC is now huge. It's owned by a group, and that group is one of the most powerful groups in the world.
Yeah,
I think the UFC was bought for $4 billion.
7.7 billion to Paramount, I believe.
I'm saying when they bought. So when the Fertittas sold the UFC, it was for 4.2 billion. And then the company that's bought it, they've just done a deal right now with Paramount for whatever it is. But understand that Dana works for whoever that company is who bought the UFC.
Nick Khan and TKO Group, right?
Whatever it is, I'm not sure. But what I know is that group is seriously powerful and wealthy. They could not have, even if he was 100 to 1 on to beat Eddie, they could not have their man being beat up, who's the face. And let me tell you, he is the face of the UFC. Dana White built the UFC from the ground up. You
do say that, though, like it's AJ going in with Prenga. I don't think we can sit here and say that Eddie's going to...
Charlie, you don't understand, mate, the size of that company and the people, the power that's running it and looking after it. He couldn't have Eddie beating Dana up. It just would not be good for business. It would not be good for the whole group as a whole. It would be an absolute disaster, and Eddie would he knows how to make things worse, mate. He really does.
It's come out and there's been a bit of back and forth over the last couple of days. Dana White's come out and said that he's going to promote Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury.
Has he really?
Frank Warren said bullshit. Eddie's obviously said, what on earth are you talking about? Would it be wrong for Dana to promote that fight?
Does anyone care? All that matters is the fight.
As long as you see the fight.
Exactly. Who cares who's promoted? Listen, at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. So we'll soon find out who's talking shite and who's not. But contracts, I would even go as far as saying now contracts don't even matter, because once the money speaks, and let's all be brutally honest, we all know who the money is in this situation. The money talks. So when he speaks, that's when everybody will listen.
I actually don't know much about how the promoting thing works in boxing. I don't understand it.
You don't want to know,
I don't know.
It's a shit show.
So it's pointless asking me. I'll just ramble a load of shit that I don't understand anything about.
This weekend at the Pyramids in Giza, there's a show and a fight that I think Oleksandr Usyk's probably earned a bit of an easier touch in the public eye. You know the man Rico very well. What do you make of it? You've sparred. Yeah. Does he have any chance?
I mean, I've been sparring Rico for 10 years, so I know him well. He's like, I'm lucky enough to say that he's a friend of mine as well. Super, super good guy. I think anybody's got a chance, don't they? But I think Usyk's is a fucking other level. And I'm not... Just because, like, Rico's my friend, don't mean I'm going to sit here on a podcast and lie about it. Like, he's up against it. He's up against it.
Respectful, which you're supposed to.
Yeah, he's up against it.
Can he win?
I think anybody can win in combat sports. I think everybody's got a chance. Rico's a big human being. He might cause Usyk some problems with his move. Like,
I've got a better question.
They move different.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would. But I am a little bit biased on Rico's side. But
well, if that's the case, then
I do think he would.
This guy's got a chance. Because Francis Ngannou gave Tyson Fury an absolute hell of a fight. I'm not saying he beat him. A lot of people do think he beat him. And I understand why they think he beat him.
Come on, you've been in the ring with Usyk though. Like,
unfortunately, I have, yeah. But it doesn't. It makes no change on what my opinion is. Rico Verhoeven is dangerous. The guy's a big lump and he can punch. Like, I'm interested to know.
Does he land a punch against Oleksandr Usyk?
Absolutely. Do you want to bet? He lands a
No, he'll land a punch.
He will land punches on Oleksandr Usyk. He'll be actually took back in the first 2 to 3 rounds by his style and what'll happen.
Do you agree?
I'm not sure.
I do. I think. This is only from my experience of sparring boxers, which obviously sparring fighting is different, especially at that level. So there's a little disclaimer for you. But so boxers, right? They've been used to fighting someone who's come through the amateur program in boxing, and they've all got generally speaking, a pretty similar style. They'll throw a 1-2 and a left hook. They work behind a jab. They'll jab to the head and the body. They'll throw a 1-2. They'll throw, pretty like basic conventional stuff.
We're all taught the basics.
They'll all do similar stuff. They'll have 50 amateur fights, 100 amateur fights, 30 pro fights, and they're all doing similar stuff. Now, when I've sparred boxers in the past, the success that I've had, which is very limited, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm not going out there and pinging like professional boxing in a boxing spar, because I'm not. But the success that I have is when I do stuff that they're not used to. I'll be miles out range. I'll dive in and do weird stuff that they're not. I won't do the traditional 1-2. So Usyk has a chance of doing that. Sorry, Rico has a chance of doing that against Usyk, just doing different stuff that he's not accustomed to, like he would be with normal boxers. Does that mean he's going to win the fight? Not necessarily, but it means that he's got a chance.
I just think it depends on which Oleksandr wants to turn up. Does he want to be destructive? Does he want to make it painful? Charlie, you have to understand, this guy's going in. I know it's his second ever professional boxing contest, but it's really his first, because this guy's a whole new level to what you faced. I mean, I look at, has he not been in the UFC, Rico?
I think he's had one MMA fight, but he's had like 60 kickboxing fights.
How big a puncher is he?
That's what I'm trying to get to.
He's a big lad. He's a lot bigger than me.
As his knockouts, he's a lump. I've been close to him. I've seen him at the presser.
He's a big lump.
Well, his knockouts mainly with the legs or the hands.
It's difficult to say in it, because even though they might be with the hands, they're set up by the legs.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? So
the fear of his legs are his greatest asset.
He's a phenomenal kicker.
Is he?
Phenomenal kicker.
Well, from what I know he is, because I've watched him and I've seen little bits of him. I'm not going to claim I know his career, because I don't. But I've seen his leg strikes and I've seen his head, and he just serious. It's like getting it off a baseball bat.
He's phenomenal.
But that's what I was trying to get to. They're probably petrified of the kicks. They'll take a punch, and if the punch is heavy enough, they're going to go over. I always remember Czech Congo being over in Liverpool, and he was training at the gym where they used to have, I think it was the Wolf thingy or whatever it was called. And the hardest he ever got, to bear in mind, Czech Congo had fought everybody in the UFC, been in the ring with everyone. And he passed a comment and said in an interview the hardest he'd ever been punched in his life was off Tony Quigley. And Tony Quigley, we all know, was a former middleweight professional boxer, super middleweight as well, British champion. And that just lets you know that the difference between in the punching and what he'd felt off Tony Quigley to what he'd felt in the UFC, it's a different style. But at the same time, Tony Quigley thought it was mad to be in the same ring with someone like Czech, who's coming at you squared on. The fucker's jumping up in the air sometimes and punching you on the top of the head. These are the things that are going to throw Oleksandr Usyk off guard. So I just think it's how Oleksandr approaches the fight. One thing I'll say is he'll never get caught slipping like Tyson Fury did. The Tyson Fury that got in the ring with Francis Ngannou thought he was getting into a circus. He thought it was a bit of a mismatch. And he's right in thinking so. You've seen what happened to Francis Ngannou when he went in with someone who prepares perfectly, who does it proper and does it diligently, and Anthony Joshua, he just completely wiped them out. And I think that's what Tyson Fury would have done to Francis Ngannou had he been in the correct mindset, had he been in the correct shape, but he wasn't. So whatever, make of that what you will. For Rico, I think he's a far better boxer than Francis Ngannou is, and I think he's got a lot more advantage because he's not coming purely from a mixed martial arts background. He's coming from a kickboxing, and it's called kickboxing for a reason. There's a fair bit of boxing that he's done to get to the level that he's got to, although the kicking is the strongest part. So he isn't like Ngannou. He's not a novice. He's not like Conor McGregor. He's going to come in with that stuff. He's a bit better than a novice, but he'll do things that novices would offset you. When you're a world champion or when you're a world-class fighter and boxer, the worst thing you can do is get in the ring with a novice because they make you look stupid. It's like Tom, if he gets in the ring with a mixed martial artist and he hasn't got a clue, he'll do things that'll go, what are you doing? But they'll take him by surprise. Things that you just raw novices would do. And I think that's Rico's best chance and opportunity, really, to do some crazy stuff. Don't kick. I'm not advising you to kick, son, don't kick. But just come and square on angles that you won't really expect. Taking risks from so far out, it looks stupid, but you'll actually have success by doing it because it'll never have been done to him before, and it'll be very hard to replicate sparring partners as well. Time now for the ultimate prediction, powered by Midnight, the betting app that's built different. Tom, UFC 250, the White House, the location, unbelievable. Talk to me about the card. What do you think?
I mean, I think there's 7 fights on the card. So It's a pretty, usually they do like 12, 13, 14 fights. It's only
prelims.
This is just like main card only. Also, I think they're going to do it on the White House lawn, right? And then there's only going to be like 2,000 people there. So it's not going to be like a big stadium or anything like that. It's just going to be like big fights, exclusive people only.
It's a proper spectacle.
Yes, straight. I don't know. I was getting asked would I want to fight on it. This was obviously before the injury and stuff. I was never like, I think it's more of an American thing to fight. Like for me, I'm not, like no disrespect to the White House or anything, but I'm not like, that's somewhere that I'd love to fight. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think anyone from the
American
UK.
thing.
Yeah, I think US people would do. But mate, it's a good card. They've got Gaethje and Topuria main event.
It's a good fight. I mean, that Gaethje after the win against Paddy.
I think
once again that another eye poke in that one.
Yeah, a couple of eye pokes in that.
One.
Yeah, a couple in that. I think it's a straightforward fight for Topuria though, in my opinion.
He's powerful and
he's so powerful. Wrestling's incredible. I think I think he's just on really good form right now. I think that Gaethje's good, but he's a little bit past his best, to be honest with you.
We thought that before the Paddy fought him, and then he's got past Paddy. Like I'm not going to lie, I was surprised he beat Paddy. I thought Paddy was going to beat him.
It was a good fight, but I think he was a little bit too experienced, in my opinion, in the big fights. That's how I think he won that fight.
That was the difference.
Yeah, that's what I think, because he's been in a lot of big fights, Gaethje.
Yes.
But I think that Topuria's I just think he's on another level at the minute.
Talk to me about Ciryl Gane, obviously your former opponent, and now Alex Pereira.
Oh mate, this is an exclusive. This is the first time I spoke about it, actually. Should I give the full breakdown? I'll give the full breakdown if you want.
I'm intrigued to know.
Right.
Alex Pereira's going up again,
and
he's come through the divisions. Obviously, I've seen him against Israel Adesanya, the fights he's had with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've not met him in person. How big is he? Big. Does he have a chance?
He's
I
big.
mean, is he?
I think first of all, he's an absolute generational talent, Alex Pereira. If he wins this fight, even though it's an interim title, it'll be the first person ever to win 3 different weights, which is unbelievable. He's massive. He's a massive... Unit. First of all, I have no idea how he made middle, because he's like my height, so he's maybe a little bit shorter than me, 6'4", 6'5".
Crazy weight cuts.
Massive weight cuts, and now he's fighting at heavyweight. I think, if you want me to break it down a little bit... So
definitely.
He carries a lot of power at light, heavy and middle. But he's also fighting a lot smaller guys whose punch resistance is a lot less.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, a big factor of why he's knocking these guys out is because he's a lot bigger than them. And a guy like Ciryl Gane, who's used to taking punches off big heavyweights, like he didn't get hurt off Francis Ngannou for 5 rounds, which is one of the biggest punches in the division. I don't know if his punch resistance will be as good at heavyweight. Also, Alex Pereira is very good when he fights light heavyweights or middleweights who don't move a lot.
Okay.
Ciryl Gane is a massive heavyweight who moves a lot, moves really well, really fluid on his feet, in and out, judges the distance really well and stuff like that. So stylistically, I think it's a good matchup for Gane. That being said, Gane doesn't like leg kicks. He doesn't fare well against leg kicks. He's a good kicker, but if someone kicks him, his leg kick defence isn't great. Alex Pereira, unbelievable leg kicker. Like his calf kicks. Have you seen the calf kicks he does? He slows people down. Like that's how he sets up the left hook. Is he kicks them to the calf, stops the movement a little bit, and then comes in with the left hook. So
how good is he on the floor?
Well, both of them, to be honest, the grappling isn't the strong point for both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Even I thought Pereira might have had better than Gane because of the Brazilian.
It's hard to say because we don't see him there a lot. It's difficult because, like, MMA, there's so many different facets to it. Like, I know for me personally, there's so much that I can do that I've not shown yet.
Yeah.
Just because I've not had the opportunity to it. So maybe both the grappling's really good, but we don't often see him there on the ground. So
because that was your ground game is very underrated, but no one's really seen much of it.
I think my ground game is better than my striking.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a statement.
I've just not had the chance to show it.
Because that's what always impressed me about Paddy. As UK fighters, over the years, we've been predominantly known as we can all strike and we're super fit. So Michael Bisping ticks the boxes, doesn't he? He's super fit. He's a cardio engine that doesn't stop and he throws loads of punches. But you found wanting on the ground.
Yeah.
And I've seen Paddy kind of closing the gap a little bit for doing it. And you just haven't had the opportunity yet because your striking's been so good. But I need to see a guy who's from the UK who's just as good on his feet as he is on the floor.
I think Paddy's his grappling level is really, really high.
Yeah, that's what
the problem is you're fighting a good wrestler like Gaethje who's a lot shorter than you. It's hard to get him down. Like, I think that's what he just struggled with. But I think, mate, honestly, the Gane and Pereira fight, I struggle to pick a winner at this stage, to be honest. I want to see. Mate,
do you want to see greatness, or would you rather go, I want to see Gane because I want revenge?
I want revenge, of course, but also there's an argument to say that me and Pereira would be a bigger fight. I don't know. They're both big fights, aren't they? I'd make like
they're huge fights. But Pereira's the bigger name. No matter what happens, Pereira's always going to be the bigger name.
Pereira's got a massive fan base, massive, like globally. But
which fight do you think's harder for you?
I think they both got their own. I think they're both tough fights, to be honest. I think. See, when I fought Gane, I think there was a lot of fan expectation that it would be an easy fight for me, mate. I knew that it was stylistically, I knew it wasn't.
He moves really well.
Yeah, stylistically, mate, that's a really tough fight for me, and I knew that from before the fight. But mate,
and we've seen he strikes really well because we've seen what Jon Jones done to him. He didn't want any part of striking with him, did he? He just took him straight down as fast as he could, and that's how he got rid of him.
It's a tough one to call, mate. Tough one to call.
Which way would you go? Which way are you going?
I would say Gane by points. I think he's just going to.
Many will predict that.
I think he's just going to move too much for him and beat him on points, I think.
Okay. That was the ultimate prediction powered by Midnight. And remember, folks, if you're having a bet on this fight on Midnight, you must be 18 plus and please gamble responsibly.
Well, that was another fantastic episode of Fight Your Corner with Tony the Bomber Bellew and Tom Aspinall.
In partnership with Midnight, the betting app that's built different.
Thank you to Tom for being a fantastic guest. If you enjoyed the episode, like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me what you think. Are you agreeing with Tony this episode? Are you disagreeing with him? I'm sure he'll give you 5 pence. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that jazz, and keep watching Fight Your Corner.